Good evening, everyone. Our digital marketing webinar will start in precisely 1 minute. We'll begin at 7:01. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar titled Grow Your Practice Using Digital Marketing. My name is Mike Zucala, and I'm the VP of Aesthetic Marketing for Crown Aesthetics, formerly Bellis Medical, and the makers of SkinPen, the first FDA-cleared microneedling device on the market. And I'll be helping to moderate tonight's webinar and discussion. Our webinar is scheduled for roughly 1 hour and will include a large number of digital marketing pearls that we strongly believe will have tremendous value to all of our customers. But before we begin, let me share just a few housekeeping items. During the webinar, all lines will be muted to avoid any background noise. However, we will be using an interactive poll feature to help us tailor and focus tonight's discussion on the marketing elements that are most important to our audience members. Additionally, if you'd like to ask a question, you can do so at any time during the presentation. To submit a question, please submit through the question box located at the bottom right-hand side of your window. We'll share these questions at the end of the webinar, so feel free to submit them at any time. So let's get started. As the sponsor of this webinar series, Crown Aesthetics is delighted to introduce you to two outstanding strategic and digital marketing experts, Robin and Hunter Rose with the Dallas-based firm Marketplace Consulting Group. Hunter and Robin, thanks so much for joining us tonight and sharing your pearls with our audience. I must say it's a very popular subject indeed. As a matter of fact, we had over 325 people register for tonight's webinar. So with that, Robin and Hunter, the floor is now yours, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. We are so excited to be working with all of the providers today. We've been working with SkinPen and Bellis for several years now, actually from before it was even a product. And so we are very excited to see how much everything has grown, and love working with all those different providers. And the idea today is to help you grow your practice. We're going to talk a lot about digital marketing and all of its different aspects. There are going to be times for questions today, and there's going to be a few interactive polls. So let's get right to it. We are a market-based, we are a marketing consultancy that focuses on three different areas: strategic marketing, value proposition development, and digital marketing. For the digital marketing, which is what we're focused on today, that typically means search engine marketing, which are things like Google and Bing and things like that. Search engine optimization, that is optimizing your individual website so that it is going to attract all of the different search engines to put you inside the top positions for the different searches that people are doing. And then, of course, website development and content development. My name is Hunter Rose. I'm the founder and president of Marketplace Consulting Group. I've got international marketing experience. I've lived and worked in 3 different continents. With a focus on healthcare information technologies and telecommunications. I also have a lot of experience inside the franchise arena with digital marketing and technology leaders, and I'm a member of the board for the franchise organization for Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. I have a lot of hands-on knowledge of strategy, product marketing, sales management, and market research. Previously, I was the strategy director for the Gartner Group, which is one of the largest IT consultancies inside the United States. I also held senior positions at Bell Labs, at Lucent Technologies, and Digital Equipment Corporation, which is now Hewlett Packard. I also formerly worked in the Office of Public Liaison at the White House, as well as, which was essentially a marketing job, as well as doing campaign speeches, speech writing, and helping with debate and debate prep. I have a master's in business from the University of Texas, the Dallas campus, and a Bachelor of Science in Information Studies from Syracuse University.
And I'm Robin Rose. Good evening. I am the Vice President of Digital with Marketplace Consulting Group. My background is both in business to business, B2B, and consumer focused marketing. So working both directly with businesses as well as the consumers they're trying to target. My expertise is in local and digital advertising and internet, as well as social media and product marketing. In fact, I am a patent holder in the joint use of pay-per-click and pay-per-call technology and we partnered a lot with Google when I received that patent. I also used to be the VP of Product Marketing for a subsidiary of Verizon, Superpages.com, and I managed $2 billion worth of products for our 500,000 small business clients. And I've got an MBA from the University of Texas in Austin in marketing and an undergraduate business degree from Emory University.
So we're going to talk today about 5 different areas. Updating your website to drive more traffic, search engine optimization, some of you may have heard it called SEO, and then driving leads with search engine marketing, or what most people call SEM. So one of them is the organic type of results that you see when you do a search on Google, and the other one is the ones that are sponsored ads. Both of them are important, both of them work, and they work together with your website. We're also going to talk about leveraging social media to help enhance the business and the traffic to your website. And then, of course, utilizing ratings and reviews.
So we want to start with a quick poll of which type of digital marketing do you most want to improve this year. The first choice is to give your website a facelift. Second, advertise on search engines like Google. Third is drive more traffic from search engines to your website with SEO. Fourth, improve social media presence. And fifth, get better at generating positive reviews. So if you can go ahead and quickly just vote on which one of those you would like to most work on.
That way we can also gauge as to where to lead the discussion.
Okay, and we're just going to wait for those results.
Yep, so on this side, Robin, 50% of the panelists have voted for improved social media presence.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Great. Then we're going to cover all the areas, but we'll pay particular attention to social media.
Great. So if you want to turn it back over to our screen. Okay, the important thing to understand here, we're going to start with the website, and then we'll get into some of that social media. That your website is a little bit different than it was even just 3 or 4 years ago. Okay, it's changed a lot actually. So it used to be you would advertise, you would just build a website and hope that people would come, and it was essentially your company's commercial, right? So now what's different is that about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little bit earlier, you would try to drive traffic to your website, and everybody would try to get the best URLs, the names of the website. So it's marketplaceconsultinggroup.com. or whatever the name of your company is .com, and you would send everybody to your home page. What's different now is that every page needs to act like a home page, because the changes inside of how Google operates is they are trying to get you to the exact information deep inside of your website. So no longer are they going just to your homepage. In fact, they may never even see your homepage. So what that means is that you need to have all of the features that you would have on the homepage on each and every one of the pages. You can still navigate to the homepage, but each one has to be a landing page in and of itself and act as a whole site. Of course, the most important part of that is now mobile-friendly designs, okay? Because we are finding that more and more of your customers, the majority now, actually are searching from their phones and devices. That means that you also have to have extremely easy navigation, clear and concise messages, and each one of those you have to have a very strong call to action. That means that you're asking them to specifically do something, not just that you're telling them what you can do. You're asking them for information, like sign up now for this, or give us your information and we'll send you this newsletter. Whatever that is, there needs to be a call to action on each page, and that will all help you attract new patients.
Okay. Also important to that is the tailored landing pages that Hunter mentioned. So the key here is to identify your key services, which ones are the most profitable for your business. And that may take some analysis of how much time your estheticians are spending on certain services, or how long a doctor spends with a patient. Which unique services do you offer? So what new opportunities are there to find different services that you can present to your patients? And what services do your competitors offer? So this is a great chance to scope out who you see as the top competitive either medical spas or dermatologists in your area, and see what services they're providing to patients. You may want to consider those. You may also see that you're offering something that's unique that they don't offer, and so you heavily want to promote that. And then what are your practice's sweet spots? What's easily repeatable and a high margin? So back to what's most profitable, but also which ones can you perhaps offer more frequently during the day, or which ones drive the most amount of money, because that's where you obviously want to sign up more patients. Once you've identified those, you build landing pages based on them. Each one should be tailored to that specific target audience. So the messaging needs to speak to that service. Each page should be unique, so that if someone comes to that page directly, they learn about the service and you're speaking to them because they've done a search on Google. You want the page to match that. That's what Google is looking for.
So wait, Robin, so would a service be microneedling? Would that be a service?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Microneedling would be a great service, and you'd want to highlight that you offer skin pen.
And you would build a separate landing page just for your skin pen offering?
Exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because you want to attract just people that are interested in microneedling.
Yes.
Okay.
And then on it, you want a strong call to action. So you could have a form on there to schedule an appointment, or your phone call for your to reach your appointment line, but a very strong message to get them to take action. You don't want them to just research, you want them to get in touch and book an appointment. The goal there is to either get that phone call or the form completed, or an email sent to you, whichever version you want. And then ultimately you want to improve your ROI and profitability by focusing on the right services and building out these landing pages.
The ROI is a real important one that people seem to forget, because you could be selling a lot of very low cost types of services that maybe are also high cost for you. So the ROI is an important one when you're balancing how you're going to be doing your mix of pages. You really want to put your best foot forward and figure out what those sweet spots are for your business.
Okay, so another interactive poll. If you could look at those two sites and see which one is most appealing to you, the one on the left or the one on the right. So it's one or two, and you'll vote on which one you think is more appealing.
Now we've blurred out the company names here, so
So,
ignore the
Yeah.
ignore the blurry part.
Yeah.
But which ones do you prefer? Website 1 or website 2? And we can't see any of the poll results.
Right.
So whenever you have enough poll results, just let us know.
So Hunter, 1 minute in, it looks like we've got 85% of our pollsters preferring website number 2.
Okay. Well,
Great.
we do too. So that's that's excellent. What?
Okay, so one of the things to note here on it, I mean, obviously that one is definitely more visually appealing, but the biggest areas I want to point out that are critical are on the bottom left, the request a consultation. So there's a clear call to action and a very noticeable button for them to push. And also in the bottom right is the, and it's hard to see it probably on your screen, but it's the accessibility icon. And that's critical going forward as you're updating your website. Having your site be accessible to
It's ADA.
Yeah, it's ADA compliance it's mostly meant for people who are blind or hearing impaired. And a lot of small businesses are now facing lawsuits when their sites are not ADA compliant. So this is really important as you update the website.
So the other thing that's really important to take a look at is on the one on the left. Okay, if you take a look, it says under cosmetic services, all of the different services that they have available, laser services, laser hair removal, skin rejuvenation, chemical peel. This is a very old school way of doing it, okay, where they just list a whole bunch of what we would consider keywords, okay? So instead of having a list of those, what you would really want to do is build each of those out as its own page. Okay.
So if you could look at this one.
These are the same pages.
Yes. So which one do you think is more effective for attracting patients? Same two sites. Just look at either the list on the left or the list on the right.
Hunter and Rose?
Yeah.
It looks like we've got consensus here. 95% prefer website number 2.
Okay, perfect.
Good choice.
All right. I think that website number 2 was also a skin pen provider, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. And so the benefit here is, as Hunter noted, that the landing pages are critical, and the blue box that pulls down under services number 2, each one of those is a landing page with a service that this practice offers, whereas the one on the left has a list of cosmetic services and they're all on one page. So it confuses Google when they're all on one page and they're not blown out with lots of information.
What the whole point of this is that Google, well, first of all, Google doesn't tell us exactly what the algorithm is, and it changes all the time. There's now committees of people within Google that change and adjust the algorithm to basically achieve one goal, and that goal doesn't change. That goal is to get what they consider their customer, which is the person that is doing the search, to get them to the right information as quickly as possible. Okay, and so they have an algorithm that creates what they call a page authority. Essentially, what that means is which page in the entire internet has the expertise on the individual search that that consumer is looking for. Okay, and so there is such a thing as free traffic. Okay, and that's what we try to build into each of those pages. So each of those links that was on the previous page is then going to be organized in such a way on the back end of the website that is what we call SEO friendly. There robot language that's behind the website. So it's not just listing a whole bunch of keywords on the front of the website that people read. There's actually like a robot language behind the scenes that when Google sends out what they call a spider, which is basically something to index the entire internet, and it takes, around 6 weeks or so, isn't it? About that.
It's usually around that.
Around 6.
Sometimes if you're lucky, it's faster, but it's usually 6
So
weeks.
about 6 weeks for them to cover the entire internet and index everything. Okay, well, the faster way that they do that is they look at the robot language that's behind the website that you can't see. So the example I always like to give is most of us have done an image search before on Google. Okay, and so if I'm doing an image search of a golden retriever, okay, and all of a sudden Google starts sending me pictures of golden retrievers. Well, the search engine itself doesn't really know what a golden retriever looks like. What has happened is somebody has gone in behind the website and they have what they call tagged that particular picture as a golden retriever. And it says, hey, Google, this is a picture of a golden retriever. So when somebody searches golden retrievers, show this picture. And that's exactly how it works. But you have to end up tagging a lot more than just the pictures that are on your website. Every title, every subtitle, plus synopsis of what is actually on the page. We try to write quality content that's focused on the keywords that people are going to be searching. So that has to match. You want to become that page authority for the individual search that somebody's doing and typing it on the search bar. The depth is much more important than the breadth. So it's much better, for example, for you to say that you have that you have services in microneedling inside of the Dallas area than it is to just list a whole bunch of different services in a whole bunch of different cities. Okay, and now top reviews are so important. You can thank Amazon for that.
Yeah.
But they're really the ones that have kind of changed how we do a lot of our shopping. And it's not, and Yelp too. And now the real big gorilla out there is of course Google. They've kind of taken over that whole business as well. And now I'd say probably about 85% of the reviews, maybe even more, are actually on Google instead of on Yelp or some of the other types of services.
And we'll talk more about reviews in a little bit. So part of SEO is keyword planning and analysis. So it's really important to have your branded keywords as part of your website. So not just graphically, but you need to actually have it in the text of the website so that if someone is doing a search, let's say one of your patients refers a friend to your practice, you want to make sure that when they look up your business name, that your website is showing up first. If they have trouble finding you, trust me, they're going to go start calling other practices, or they may call the wrong practice if you have a similar name to someone else. So you want to make sure that your brand name, that you're watching that both for your practice and the physicians or other staff members that patients may be looking for.
And also on the back end too, right?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
And they have to match. So what you're saying on the front end of the website that people are reading have to match what you're telling Google, hey, these are my keywords.
Yes.
On the back end.
Absolutely. And then competition here is also critical. So just like we mentioned it earlier, you need to look at how your competition is positioning themselves and make sure that you're responding appropriately on your website, that you mention similar types of services, that you see which terms that they're appearing before you for in the search, and focus on improving your content. So if they're showing up higher than you for a service that matters to you, then you should build out a landing page for that and add lots of information so that your page starts to rank higher. Also keyword volume. This is where it's important to have Google Analytics on your website on the back end to understand which search terms that patients are using to get to your website. And you continue to look for new ones that are popping up and finding trends and opportunities there. So it's important to have someone looking at that regularly. And then also to integrate with your search engine marketing. And we're about to talk about search engine marketing shortly, but Google rewards companies that have a strong SEO and SEM program that are integrated, that they're focused on similar keywords and structure. And so Hunter talked about some of these things for your website already, but in order for your website to be found, you need to make sure that the back end, the robot language that Hunter referenced, is there, that it's page titles and heading tags, and there's different levels of heading tags to show priority. Meta descriptions that tell the search engines what the page is about, because they aren't going to necessarily read the entire page initially. They're going to read the meta description that your consumer, your patient, never sees. How much density there is to the keyword, and on a specific page, you really only want to focus on 1 or 2 keywords and try to get ranked for that with the page. Internal and external links. As Hunter said, the pictures need alt tags so that they tie to the keywords that you care about, and the site architecture and site map. So this is all the back end, what a developer is going to work on, or the person building your site, but it's not one of those things that you set and forget. It's critical to revisit your SEO. Amazon has a whole entire team of people looking at SEO daily. I'm not suggesting that, but rather you should look at it usually at least every, say 6 months, if not a little more often, to make sure that nothing's changed on your website.
But part of that's dependent on how active you are in changing that website. So if you're changing content all the time, especially if you're doing a lot of blogging, because I know that a lot of the skin pen providers like to do blogging, and that's how they communicate a lot of their ideas. Well, blogs are a fantastic way to actually get a whole lot of the really golden keywords into your website. In fact, when you're actually writing a blog, the first thing you should be thinking of, rather than just, okay, this would be a good idea for a blog, is what keywords do I really need to capitalize on? And you have to write that blog based on those keywords.
And blogs do need to be optimized more regularly. So those should be looked at really as you're posting the blog, they should be optimized.
And just like your website, I want to make sure that this point is really clear, because your individual website landing pages really need to focus on 1, maybe 2 keywords, okay? You don't want to have a whole bunch of keywords on your website or on a particular page, because then it just dilutes what Google sees. Just focus on one idea, 1 keyword, and make sure you're saying it in a whole bunch of different ways.
Okay, so search engine marketing, this is the paid part of advertising, and the critical aspect here is that you want to write ad copy to appeal to potential patients. There's got to be a call to action. You can focus on what your patient is searching for and highlight services or special offers. So if you're running a promotion, or if you're doing a demonstration, this would be a great opportunity to promote it in your ads. So search engine marketing also is the idea of leveraging traffic that is coming. So you're going to get some free traffic from SEO, but you do get.
What percentage do you think you're getting in SEO versus SEM?
So it varies by industry and city. So it's not an exact science, but typically I would say that roughly 90 to 95% is from the free traffic, and the rest is from the paid traffic. That said, the paid traffic usually drives better conversions, meaning more specific actions on your site. So they're more likely to call you or fill out a consultation form than the free traffic. So it's kind of interesting how that works.
Not only that, but we've also found that because, Google is a for-profit business, they definitely, as Robin I think said on one of the earlier slides, they reward you if you're advertising with them. So you seem to get more free traffic when you're paying for the other traffic.
That's true. That is true.
And they match.
Yes. So most SEM programs, this is one of the mistakes people make. They focus on broader, more expensive keywords when there's better, what's industry term is long tail terms available for a better ROI. So for an example, acne is much more expensive than acne scar removal treatment. So you want to look for those long tail terms that are going to produce a better ROI, meaning the cost to drive the click is going to be less and produce similar results or better results than the cost per click of some of these shorter terms like acne. But the biggest key is to determine your conversion goal. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to drive clicks to your website? Do you want calls? Are you selling product on your website? Like, especially if you're, say, a med spa and you're actually selling.
Skin Fuse.
Yeah, Skin Fuse, there you go. Although I think you need a prescription or you need someone to do that. But if you're selling something on your website that could be purchases or a contact form filled out. But the idea is to track the leads that are coming from SEM based on your conversion goal. So click-through rate is great and everything, but that's not the end all. Just because they click to your website, if they don't do anything once they get there, then you've wasted your money. So you want to focus on also, from an SEM perspective, you can really target your ads, and you need to spend time doing this based on geography. So certain parts, how far are your patients willing to travel? Are there neighboring suburbs that you want to advertise to, or zip codes? Day parts. If you're trying to drive phone calls, then you can turn off the ads at 10 p.m. when no one's in the office. You only want the ads running when you've got someone answering your phone.
For that particular goal.
If that's your goal, exactly. You can obviously tailor, as we said, by keywords, customer targets, set different budget levels. And you want to constantly be testing this to see what's working and what's not working, and monitor the results on a very ongoing basis. And then also remarket to past website visitors. So often the repeat exposure makes a big difference. If you find someone who's come to your website and then you can show them an ad, they're more likely to call you.
So this is that thing that some people, sometimes they found it annoying, but it actually really works. So if you found yourself shopping for a new sofa, okay, and then all of a sudden, wherever you are on the internet, in places that have nothing to do with sofas, you start seeing ads for sofas. Well, that is the remarketing that Robin's talking about. And that's something that you can do through Google as well.
Okay, so similar to SEO, keyword planning is really important. So I talked about branded keywords. You want to bid on your brand, the doctor's name, the practice name, and that's important so that it balances out the SEO effort.
And when Robin says bid, it really is bidding. It's just like, it's like eBay, okay? So you're bidding on that particular phrase. That's why what Robin was saying is that there may be a better ROI on some of those long tail keywords rather than the real short ones, because it may be, if you're living in St. Louis, a big city, and you look at what it costs to bid on acne scars, well, acne scars may be really expensive, okay, but you may be able to do a much longer
acne scar removal treatment.
Exactly, acne scar removal treatment, which is more specific and will probably give you a better chance of actually having a new customer, but it'll cost you maybe a third of what it costs for just acne.
Exactly. So,
and you may have 200 of these going all at the same time just to get more and more customers. These are not just like 3 or 4 different ways, because your doctors are also really well known and you have to bid on their names.
Yeah, exactly. And then you want to target geographically. So as I said, figure out what people are willing to drive. You may bid more on the zip codes right around your practice and less on the ones further out. So you can play with that and see what works. Also, seasonality. You may find that as bathing suit season is approaching, that you want to increase your budget because more people care about how they look when it's the summer months. You may also find in the winter that other keywords related to dry skin or something like that is going to drive more traffic. So you can adjust based on the season. Again, the competition, and we've mentioned this a few times, but it's important to know what your competition's bidding on and see what they're doing.
So let me ask you a question, Robin.
Sure.
Okay, and this is purely a Ben and Jerry's question.
Okay.
Okay. So if I am trying to sell Ben and Jerry's cakes, okay, and I know that a lot of people look for Baskin Robbins cakes, how do I get those people on my website?
So you can bid on competitors' names. You can bid on Baskin Robbins cakes.
And it's legal?
It's legal. Now, your landing page that you're sending them to is not going to have as high quality score because it doesn't mention your competitor. That doesn't mean you can't try it, and certainly you can try combinations of it, and it will work if you find the right combination. You just may not appear every time because you're not Baskin Robbins, you're Ben and Jerry's.
Right.
But it is absolutely an effective tool, and it is allowed. You just play with it to see what version of your competitor's name works.
So if you've got an esthetician out there that's using Dermapen, you should probably be bidding on Dermapen, type of services, just so at a minimum your company's name is popping up during that search.
Exactly. And then back to keywords once again. So the search volume is important, and this is where Google Analytics can give you a lot of information tied in with Google Ads to really see which keywords are driving the opportunity and which ones. Don't be afraid to turn off keywords that aren't working for you. Sometimes I have found that people hesitate to turn things off. They're afraid they're going to miss something. But the reality is you have a limited budget. I mean, it'd be great if everyone had millions of dollars spent on advertising, but you have a set amount of money. You want to get the most optimal results, and that may mean turning off some keywords to allow other ones to perform. And then integrate with SEO. Again, Google rewards people who advertise with them and have a strong SEO program that are aligned. They just do it.
Also, if you have questions out there, go ahead and start putting them inside the queue, and we'll get to them at the end. But go ahead and you can start loading up the queue now. I know that there's already some questions in there. I just want to make sure everybody has the opportunity.
Okay, and while you're thinking about your questions, let's do one more poll. Which social media platform, and obviously this was something that was important to you guys, is most important to your practice? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Snapchat? So pick which one. And we know that you may be doing more than one of these. That's fine.
What's the most important?
Okay, team, it's a rolling number, but it seems to be growing. 75% of our pollsters say Instagram.
Okay, interesting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the key with social media here is the message has to match the audience. So these 5 platforms.
Start with Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, since that was the majority of people believe is important.
Yeah. So Instagram has a younger demographic. Certainly, it's as Instagram gains in popularity, it's starting to attract well, I wouldn't say an older audience, but older than teens. It's attracting people in their 20s and 30s, and even some in their 40s. But it definitely skews younger than, say, Facebook. It's a very visual site and very interactive. So the goal on Instagram is to show great pictures, and it can be pictures of your patients with before and after pictures. Of course, you probably need to get a release from them for that, but that would be a great option there. Also to show some of the products that you're using on patients, to show the very photographic kinds of people that are enjoying life because of your practice. I think that would be a great opportunity, and you want to engage with your audience on Instagram. And that actually applies across the board with social media, is the engagement with people who are interacting with you. So it's not just enough to post on Instagram, but you need someone to monitor comments on there and respond to them where appropriate, so that they know that you're listening to them, you know, especially if they ask a question.
So what's surprising to me is, although Instagram is really popular, I would think that people that are looking to erase wrinkles, fine lines, things like that, tend to be a little bit older than the Instagram audience.
Yes.
Okay. And so I think for that, you got to look at Facebook still.
Exactly. So we're not saying don't do Instagram, because it's definitely where a lot of your future patients are coming
Well,
from.
and your acne scars.
And your acne scars will be on Instagram. Yes.
No, yeah, and Instagram,
Yes.
right.
But Facebook is really your core demographic for wrinkles and fine lines, and
Stretch marks.
Yeah. You know, kind of the patient who really wants to regain their youth. They're on Facebook. And they're still very active on Facebook, and you really have an ability to target by demographics on Facebook. So don't forget Facebook while you're focusing on Instagram, is the message there. And you really have an opportunity on both of those platforms to do some advertising, to try to promote your posts. And again, on Facebook, it's important to have someone monitoring your inbox, if people are messaging you or posting comments, asking questions. Facebook, you can also, visual posts get more interactions on Facebook, as do videos on Facebook. So just simple text isn't usually enough, although it can work, but you're better off including something, a picture or a video with it.
But just like everybody knows on Twitter that you need to do hashtags, you should be doing hashtags and tagging people or organizations on Facebook as well. So, for example, if you were to do a skin pen post, you may want to do a hashtag skin pen.
Yep.
Okay. Or you may want to do a tag on Crown. Okay, because they've got a bigger audience most likely than you do for your organization, and you're going to be exposing not just to your audience, but exposing to all the people that happen to be in your area that are also part of their audience. Okay, so you want to include them inside of each of your posts as well.
And the other social media platform that I would recommend for you if you've got the content is YouTube. So it crosses many demographics, and it's a great opportunity to show some videos. A lot of people who are considering skin treatments of any sort are on YouTube. They want to see demonstrations, especially some of them.
How scary it is.
Yeah. They want to see if it's scary. They want to see how invasive it is. So they want to understand that. So
they want to see if that patient's screaming.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
And they want to see a real person. Do they really look better?
Yeah, exactly. So YouTube's a great opportunity for that. And Google now owns YouTube. So wouldn't you know it? If you post things on YouTube, that also helps you in the Google rankings. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, it also shows up as a video search under Google.
Yes.
Okay, and gives you top rankings there as well.
Exactly. And Twitter is fine if you have someone that tweets regularly. It's not my favorite social media tool, but if you've got someone who's there that can interact regularly, it's faster paced, and you could certainly reach people that way.
And Twitter also it's a little bit more personal. Okay, they want some insight. So, for example, you're the doctor that may be a leader inside of your practice. It would be their insight, a personal insight. So somebody could tweet that particular doctor and ask them their opinion of something, and they would give their personal insight. Whereas Facebook, it seems a little bit more corporate. YouTube definitely seems more corporate.
Yeah, absolutely. And Snapchat, I would just keep on your radar. It's definitely more fun and creative, but a much younger audience, but they are starting to gain momentum. So I definitely would say you don't need to get on Snapchat yet, but it's one of those platforms that give it a few years, it'll probably be where Instagram is. So keep it in mind.
Reviews. Okay, so reviews, love them or hate them, they are important now. And 94% of consumers say that a bad review has convinced them to avoid a business. That is a killer. Okay,
Yeah.
so you really need to make sure that your reviews are that, first of all, you're soliciting good reviews. So if you absolutely know that you nailed it, okay, with that particular client, okay, make sure you ask them, hey, could you do us a favor? We're running a contest inside of our practice.
Yeah,
And
I just had, when I went to the dentist last week, the dentist told me that the hygienists are running a contest to see who gets the most reviews. Now, granted, I can go on and rave about her and how great she cleaned my teeth, but really the dentist wants the positive feedback about his dental practice.
the other thing that's really important is that, lo and behold, because reviews have become a much more important part of Google, they will rank you higher on a lot of searches. So a very common search is the best of. Okay, so somebody may say, who is the best dermatologist in Dallas? Okay, and what will happen is that it will rank the top 3 or 4 highest ranked businesses within Google. Okay, so you really need to be paying attention to your reviews. Now, 63% say that a business has never responded to their review. Okay, that's shame on us as business owners, because if it's positive or negative, they want a response. Okay, and in the positive 5 stars, you need to thank them for it. They went out of their way to recommend you as a business. You need to thank them. 45% of the consumers say they're more likely to visit a business that responds to negative reviews. Not only that, but if you respond to the negative reviews, okay, and give them some reasoning, sometimes they go in and they adjust their review. And they may change that 3-star into a 5-star because maybe there was just a misunderstanding, or maybe they just wanted to be heard.
Okay. So you really need to actively manage your online reputation. There should be someone in your practice regularly looking at search engines and social media sites. So Google, as Hunter said earlier, has a ton of reviews now. Obviously, Yelp and Facebook are still important for reviews. And then there's lots of medical sites with rating of doctors that you need to pay attention to. Respond to every review if the platform allows it. Now, some platforms don't, but most of them, especially Google and Yelp and Facebook, you can respond. Have a personal response. Say thank you.
But a personal response from somebody individually at the practice.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a corporate response.
No, it's not. And if you can say, Lisa, thank you for your feedback. And if you can sign it from, Mary at the front desk or something, I mean, that would be great.
Or the owner of the practice.
Or the owner of the practice, or the doctor, whoever it is. But say thank you, especially when it's positive feedback. If it's not positive, take responsibility and apologize and offer to make it right and ask for another chance. So it's not about blame shifting, it's about taking ownership of the problem. And try to take the conversation offline.
Yeah, don't make it right online, because then what you're going to end up having is a bunch of people that will think that they can get free stuff just if they complain online.
Exactly. So ask them to call you, ask them to email you and provide an email address, ask them to direct message you. Depending on the platform, determine the right response, but make sure to respond to every single review. And then some exciting news is Crown is actually going to be integrating reviews on the provider search tool. This is just a draft mock-up, so it may not look exactly like this. But you can ask your SkinPen rep about ratings.md. There's a program that Crown has to participate with RatingsMD. Basically, they will solicit ratings for you, and they'll populate it onto the Crown provider search as soon as that launches in the near future. but also you can use those reviews to put them on your own website, and they help, RatingsMD helps push them out to other sites as well. So it's a great opportunity. They basically get in touch with your patients, so they're legitimate reviews, and they're soliciting them for you.
Right, and they're soliciting positive reviews.
Yeah.
They want to bump up your ratings, and
Exactly.
that's really what they're
So
there to
ask
do.
your Crown rep about that.
So, using online marketing to grow your practice, the first thing we need to start with is the website. You need to update your websites most likely to drive more traffic. You really need to understand what the SEO behind the website is doing, okay, and what it's telling the search engines. And then, of course, integrate the search engine marketing into your annual budget, okay, your monthly budget, your weekly budget. And you really need to have somebody actively managing. So those bids, just like I said, it was an eBay type of auction, those bids are changing on an hourly or daily basis. So it's not something you could just set up and then just, come back to it next year, when you're going through your cycles. Of course, leverage social media with the best practices, and then utilize those ratings and reviews to your advantage. With that, we'd like to thank you very much for the opportunity. If anybody has anything that they would like to discuss on a more basis, feel free to either contact Robin or myself. We have our email addresses on there. You can probably find us on LinkedIn as well. And also our phone number. That's a direct line that goes right to me, actually. That's my phone number. So it's in the office. But if we can open it up to the questions, if anybody has any questions, feel free to submit them through there. And then if you get any questions, if you can please, vocalize those and let us know what we can do to help.
Yeah, no, thank you both, Hunter and Robin. Outstanding presentation, and I got to tell you, I'm loving these recommendations. And I can tell you that I think our audience is as well, primarily because Lauren and I have been going to my whiteboard here, feverishly writing up the number of questions. So as we prioritize and consolidate these and prepare to send them back to you, there was one interesting submission, which is actually a commentary. So I thought maybe you could address it, because I thought it might be very germane to our subject matter here, which is this pollster had actually submitted, we need to remember to design websites for mobile devices, as this is the most often used device. Perhaps maybe you and Robin can address this, and then Lauren and I will go through the laundry list of questions that we received right afterwards.
Yep, absolutely. So as Hunter said early on, a mobile optimized site is really critical. More and more people are doing their searches on their phones with smartphones, and websites, especially if you don't have a newer website, it does not adjust appropriately to the smaller screens. So you need a site that will size properly. You also have to make sure that the organization of the website works, and you want phone numbers enabled so that they can call directly from the website.
Right. It needs to be very easy to navigate, much simpler. You're looking at something that is a 4-inch screen instead of a big laptop or something else. So it needs to be streamlined. It's what they call retina ready. Okay, and those are some really, really important things. More and more, I would say it's somewhere in the 80% of the searches that we looked at for some of the practices recently were coming from cell phones.
Okay, great stuff. So gang, I think we've got about 5 or 6 questions. And if you're ready, I'll just start with question number 1.
Yep.
How often do I need to monitor and update my Google advertising?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's pretty critical to be monitoring it daily, actually. Google changes frequently. The auction is changing, and we often will run A/B testing, basically, or even more complex multivariate testing, basically on ad copy and keywords to see what's converting the best. So changing around what's on the ad, we'll often be running 20 or 30 ads at a time just to see which are the top ones, and then changing them out. Just like I said, if you turn off keywords that aren't working, you won't know they're not working if you're not checking regularly. And it's about finding the best ones in the mix.
So when you're doing an ad for acne scar removal service, okay, and that's the long tail keyword that you've decided to pay for, you may have 2 different ads for that exact same thing running at the same time. That's what Robin was referring to as A/B testing. Okay, what you're doing now is you're trying to judge, does this tagline in this ad perform better than this tagline in this ad? Okay, and you can set it up in Google so that both of them are achieving the same type of thing, but the ad copy is different. And then after you do your test, you want to go forward and constantly improve by using just the better ad.
It's really about active management.
Right, yeah, active management is exactly. And then your competitors, they're bidding up certain keywords as well. You may find that you get a better ROI from not necessarily purchasing spot number 1 on there. You may get a better ROI from buying the 3rd position, okay, and having the 3rd highest bid going into that keyword.
Good stuff. Thank you, guys.
You do want to go probably top 3.
Okay. Sorry, Hunter. So question number 2, and I think this is, again, pretty germane. If I have a limited budget for everything you mentioned, where do you recommend starting?
I would start with the website.
Yeah, it's as tempting as it is to start with advertising, you really need to make sure that your website is up to date and that you've built up those landing pages and focused on SEO. If you've got that in place, then the next thing is Google AdWords, because
SEM.
that's SEM, because that is the best, it's the most trackable and the most demonstrated ROI versus social media advertising, which is more of a brand play with some action associated with it. So make sure your website is in order. And once you've got your house in order with the website and the SEO, then move on to the Google.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So good segue. So question number 3 is, how often do I need to change my website once it's in order?
I would say that you probably need to, at a minimum, okay, I'm going to use a terminology we should all be familiar with. I would say give it a facelift at least every couple of years, because you have to have a new look. You have to give new reasons for people to come to your website, for one, and then technology changes rapidly, and even more so at double speed on the internet. And so there's always a better mousetrap to get people to come to your site. So I would say probably every couple of years.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But you
maybe
should,
an overhaul. How often?
A true overhaul, probably every 3 to 4 years, but definitely every few months you should be checking your website to make sure the links are working and that the content is accurate and up to date. But the facelift every couple of years.
Yeah, and there are tools out there to take a look. Broken links or stuff, that's a Google killer. Okay, so they do not like broken links on your website. So you need to make sure that when you have a link to another page, even in your own site or outside your site, that those links are constantly working.
Good stuff. And the next question is actually one I would really like to know. So the question reads, I've heard you can't incentivize Google reviews. For example, offer a free skin pen treatment for a review. Is this true?
So I can't speak to the healthcare industry per se. So I don't want to give advice specific to the medical field. I will tell you that you can definitely promote the idea of reviews. And generally speaking, you don't want to be.
I think the shorter answer is you don't need to.
You don't need to. There you go.
If you did a good job, you know you nailed it.
Yeah.
Ask for the review.
Yeah.
A lot of
That's
people
good.
know that that's important. Okay, you don't need to be giving away something for free. Okay, so I really wouldn't even go there. I would just say, ask for the review from the people you know that are going to give you a good review. Okay, you give out 10 little business cards that have the exact site, okay, or maybe even a QR code that takes them to the exact site on Google that they can make the review, or on Yelp that they can make the review. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, and have like the estheticians or at the checkout desk, have those people handing out cards. They know if the patient is happy with the service or not. They can have a sense. If someone is grumbling about it, don't give them a card and ask for a review. If someone is saying, oh, I need to schedule my next appointment, this was terrific, then give them a card and ask for the review.
Right. Yeah, it's no different than if you were to ask them to refer you to some of their friends.
Right.
Okay, it's no different, because that's essentially what they're doing, is they're saying, on my word, this place was a great place to go to and spend your money.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you. So question number 4 is, how do we know which keywords are being used most often?
So I'm assuming it means which keywords are being used as searches. I'm assuming that that's what the question's about. And the best way to do that is to install Google Analytics on the back end of your website. Google Analytics in and of itself doesn't cost anything, but it's a huge tool that basically it will track all traffic coming to your website, and it will tell you which keywords were driving traffic to which pages. And if you set up, now I'm getting a little more complicated, but if you set up some goals in Google Analytics, it can tell you which keywords were driving specific actions in there.
And that's without paying them a dime.
Right.
That they do all that analysis for free. Now you have to know how to use it.
Right.
Okay, and you may need to have someone on your staff, or somebody like us, do that and help you through that. But
right.
Those tools essentially for gauging that traffic, those are free.
Yeah, but that's the best way to do it, is to tie it in. And if you're running a Google AdWords, or now they call it Google Ads, if you're running advertising, tying it into your Google Analytics account also gives you a more complete picture as well.
And what may be the most important keyword in New York City may be completely different in Akron.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's different based on the geography. People have different concerns, and those keywords don't cost the same in New York City as they do in Akron. You may get more bang for your buck, inside the burbs.
Good point. Good point. So Hunter, our last question actually is a perfect segue to an item that you were mentioning earlier. So the question is, if our website needs a facelift, is there anyone you'd recommend?
Actually, there is. There's
a layup for you, buddy.
Yeah, there's a company based in Dallas called Marketplace Consulting Group. Actually, we need a facelift on our website as well. But certainly,
what do they say about cobblers' kids' shoes or something? Yeah.
Exactly. But so the facelift is definitely something that we can do. We can also do a whole overhaul. In fact, just about anything that we talked about today, we have expertise within our organization that we can help you out, and we would more than be happy to help you out, especially if you're trying to get more skin pen type of clients. But it doesn't have to be just skin pen. We really just want to help your clients find your business, and we specialize in that, and we do a lot of digital marketing. We do a lot of local marketing, so we would love to help.
Great.
You know what? I had one more thing that I thought of. Okay, that I don't want to neglect. Okay, when it comes to that reputation management, and this is real important. If somebody were to get a negative review, okay, how is it that you handle that negative review? Because you can't really get rid of the negative review, but what you can do is get a whole bunch more good reviews, and you keep pushing it down and diluting it further and further. In fact, a negative review is not necessarily a bad thing. It kind of keeps it real. Okay, the consumers, they know what is BS. okay, when it comes to reviews. So if you start having all your friends and family reviewing you and telling you how great you are, they can sniff that out, okay? But you can dilute the negative review and keep pushing it further and further down, because most people aren't going to read that far down into the reviews themselves. So anyhow, I just, that thought came to me, and I wanted to make sure I got it out there because it's kind of
No,
important.
reputation management is an important topic. As a matter of fact, in a future webinar, we may actually make that a specific subject matter to focus on. So I'm glad you mentioned it, Hunter. Great job.
Great idea.
Yeah, so I know we're at 8:05 now, and again, Robin and Hunter, outstanding job. Thank you for sharing these marketing pearls. I personally found it very informative, and I can't wait to speak with my digital team tomorrow to make sure we're implementing and giving ourselves a facelift on this side. Before I kind of wrap things up, are there any kind of summary items that you wanted to leave the group with here?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is as Hunter said, we're happy to talk to any of you, and we will give you guys kind of a free consultation. We'll look over what you are currently doing online and give you some recommendations and talk to you about opportunities to improve your business.
Right. Well, take a look at your website pretty closely. We're doing this only for the Crown providers. But with no cost at all, we'll definitely take a look at your website, and we'll tell you exactly where you should be improving and what you're doing really well. So definitely take advantage of it and give us a ring or send us an email.
Outstanding. Well, thank you both. We really appreciate it, and I think this now concludes our webinar. And we certainly hope that all of our listeners found it as informative and helpful as we have. And I just wanted to remind everybody that if you don't get an opportunity to reach out to Hunter or Robin, certainly you can reach out to your local Crown Aesthetics representative, who has a myriad of other marketing resources beyond just the digital pearls that we've shared with you here to help drive your business. So by all means, make sure that you reach out to your local representative. And just lastly, I would say thank you all for your participation. Thank you for the great inbound questions. I think they were very helpful to our dialogue this evening. And on behalf of the Crown Aesthetics team, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks again and have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.